Okay, here we are. Duties of a husband, the role of a husband. Ephesians 5:22 through 33. We've been looking at husband and wife, which is meant to function in tandem. They're equal. Husband nor wife can do all the work in the relationship. Equal functional responses to their roles is in a balance as God intended. So we're going to look at 4 commands that God gives the man. We looked at 4 questions on what it was like to be submissive as a woman. But here, we're going to look at 4 commands. The husband is commanded to be the head of the wife. He's called to love his wife. He's called to love his wife sacrificially. And he's called to leave and cleave. The head of the wife, verse 23, one who leads, called to it by the Lord. Now, if you're not sure what that is, even as Christ is the head of the church, his example is Jesus. See how that works both ways? I mean, our example of submission, ladies, was Jesus, and the leader for the man example is Jesus. How would Jesus deal with some things? Especially if she doesn't want to be led or resist leadership. Did you think Jesus had an easy job? Jesus he was constantly dealing with all kinds of issues and attitudes. Yet he responded how? Gentlemen, take note. With patience and humility. Example, the Last Supper. The disciples are all wanting to know which one of them was the greatest. Is it me, Lord? Is it me, Lord? You know what does he do? He didn't lose it. He didn't say you guys are idiots. He simply got down and washed their feet. He showed humility. If your wife is not being submissive, lead with humility. Offer to do something sweet for her. I mean, think about it. You know what she likes. Absorb the disrespect and do not give up. And think, I want to be like Jesus. What about the disrespect we give Jesus in our daily lives? Think about it. Colossians 3:19 says, don't be harsh or unkind. Absorb disrespect from other Christians, just like we can all be submissive to each other in a church. Number 2, love your wife. Verse 25, he's called to love her. And there's 2 aspects to this we got to look at. Make sure she knows she is loved by showing her. It's not whether he loves her, just do it. You show her. Obedience means not being obedient to your own feelings when you fall out of love. And of course, men sometimes say, I've heard them say, well, of course I love her. I married her, didn't I? No. The command is to act lovingly. You treat her lovingly. You show her. One of the biggest needs, remember what was the biggest need of a man? He needs respect. One of the biggest needs of a woman is to know that she needs love and to feel loved. Sorry, this gets me right here. If a woman feels loved, it'll bring her back commitment, confidence, stability, and security. This is a good lesson for all of us as Christians. The wife may interpret your ovations of love differently, as women are complex. Don't make fun of us now. We're complex. The husband needs to learn her complexities. So right now, if you're married, write down 5 things that you think your wife needs to feel loved. And I'll bet you if the wife wrote down 5 things that she thinks she needs to feel loved, the list would be different. It's your job, gentlemen. It's your job to know what she needs to feel loved. And it's your job. You're the head of the home. It's a big responsibility, bigger than submission. You're to teach your sons to be leaders of a home and to help your daughters learn submission by the example you're giving you and your wife are exemplifying. So men may say things like, in their own language, what I call men speak and women speak, and neither of them match. He would know. Sometimes women say, well, he would know what I want to feel loved if he loved me. He just doesn't know. But that's not true, ladies. Sometimes you got to tell them. So if you obey Jesus, let me say, just like I did with the women, if you obey Jesus, he will meet you there. We've been saying that all through Ephesians. Even when the love has died, it can come back. I know that from experience. And he also commands you to love sacrificially. Now, we've been looking at that in Ephesians as well. Loving sacrificially. He gave himself up for her in sacrificial love. You're to lay down your life in that way. Lay down your own desires and wishes for your wife. We can do this as Christians. Jesus did that for us. Being dedicated to her for her spiritual and emotional well-being. We can apply this to our church and our church members. And when your husband is not loving you, pray to God he loves you sacrificially. Meet God. Let the Holy Spirit do its job. You do your job. Let the Holy Spirit do his. A husband can tell the wife she has nothing to fear. And when she submits then, as submission makes a wife vulnerable and dangerous. So we're all a little vulnerable here, aren't we? But loving her tells her she has security and stability in the relationship. And one thing I want you to notice, gentlemen, 1 Peter 3:7, your prayers won't be hindered if you lead the home as Jesus wants you to. Now that ought to just really rock your world. And the final one is to leave and cleave. Verse 31. And that's establishing your own authority. You can't be leading in your home if you're up your mother's business. Emotional and physical to your wife is paramount above all else. Be united with your wife in one flesh. Now, and when that says that, it's more than just a biological aspect or intimacy. You share with your spouse and no one else. One thing is required for intimacy, and that's to be vulnerable. That's tough for all of us. Somewhere or sometime, if you've hurt your spouse and rather than resolving the issue properly, it festers and walls are built, which create a diminished intimacy, which produces dissatisfaction. Neglect to be vulnerable to each other is as when I do, you hurt me, we become roommates, and that's not good. Intimacy can be restored with God's help. So how do we fix this? Let me just end this. Excuse me. I'm not done. Just go to the Lord and confess it. Satan's main goal is to destroy the home. And to destroy the family of God at church or at home. Sorry, guys. Just go to the Lord and say, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. You could even go to the Lord and say, I don't want to do this. You can say, Lord, I'm not smart and I'm not courageous enough to do this in and of myself. Apart from the Holy Spirit for your spouse to fellow church members, just remember, if we do what we're supposed to do, the Holy Spirit and God, let him take this battle. Only by the power of the Holy Spirit, wives should hear you pray that once in a while. And vice versa. Tell God that he has the power. Give you the strength. When your flesh does not want to be involved, Jesus can make you be involved. Our hope is not predicated on our love for each other. Jesus gives us confidence. Jesus is the glue. Your marriage failing? Don't police your spouse. As each of you stop looking at each other, look to Jesus to make you the spouse you need to be. Let the Lord do the healing. I hope you all have gotten something out of this other than my coughing, as much as I have. I've loved the study. See y'all next week.